on this episode of the Girl Talk podcast.
One of the best things we can do is see what junk we have that might be somebody else's treasure.
Yeah,
so I need
true.
to go through my books and see what you ladies might like and then get them out of my house.
And put them in ours. I can see it now.
She's not
my little
helping us
area
here.
with the mail is going to have books too. That's how it works.
Hello there. You are listening to the Girl Talk podcast. My name is Carol.
I'm Kelly.
My name's Trisha.
And we are glad you're here today. Gonna talk clutter. Clutter in my house, clutter in my schedule, clutter in my mind. Help me, I'm cluttered. Anybody relate to that?
Yes. Oh, I just decluttered my guest bedroom. I'm like halfway through. And I am feeling so good. That's what decluttering does.
Yes.
I just feel free. I have thrown away 4 bags of trash.
Wow.
And I have filled up 2 gigantic tubs full of things to either sell on consignment or to just give away to whoever will take them.
Yeah.
Like maybe put them on the street and just say free to it.
Free
to a good home.
We're the people who take those things.
Yeah.
And it's all the junk from my son's room, all the little tiny things that nobody needs, nobody wanted in the first place.
Right.
Because it had just gotten out of control. You would have thought I was a hoarder if you had walked into my guest bedroom.
Did you find any guests in there?
I did find all kinds of things that I should not have lost in there. Important documents and important things that got properly filed. But it felt really good to declutter.
Yeah. And I don't know what that feeling is, but I know when my house is cluttered, I tend to feel more stressed.
100%.
Now, you would think that clutter wouldn't do that to you because clutter, you just put things wherever and, it's all good. But clutter, is there some kind of psychological thing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but there's research to prove that exact fact. It doesn't matter if it's your work desk and you're trying to get work accomplished.
Easy.
Sorry, because I'm talking to myself too. Or if it's your home, your bedroom, you will sleep better when your bedroom is clean. Yeah. That is just the truth. And I think it's because part of our mind is constantly engaged at observing what's around us. And if you have piles here and piles there, your mind is engaged and you're sort of trying to work through, so you can't really be in the present the way that you want to be. Clutter will definitely mess you up. Your sleep, your work, just your feeling of peace.
Makes it difficult to think.
It does. It does.
If only I could get my teenager to understand this. Why do kids not listen to this?
I'm a teenager in this scenario. I can't do it myself. I can't do it. There are areas of my house that I know all this, but I cannot get rid of it. We have this little area right in our kitchen where all the mail goes, or the magazines, or the things we don't know what to do with. There are wrenches in there. There is the headphones that my kids use when they're mowing. Everything that we don't know what to do goes there.
In the junk drawer.
And it just gets higher and higher and higher. It's not even a drawer. It's a junk area. It's starting to take over a whole wall.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not good at it. You guys help me with
you
this.
Need some of those plastic 3-drawer thingamabobbers.
There's no room though. Well, maybe it's better to put it in 3 drawers. I don't know.
I want to tell you guys, because this has been a friend of mine recommended this book, and it really is helping me because I tend to be more of people say they're cleanies and messies, or needies and messies, or whatever the personality. I don't know that. Anyway, I haven't either.
Fantastic.
Anyway,
I'm a disastery.
I want to be a cleanie.
I'm a messy, but anyway, I'm reading this book called Atomic Habits. Listen to this quote.
I'm going to write this down.
Atomic Habits, okay? Listen to this quote. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy.
Oh, that hurt my toes.
I
got open-toed
right?
shoes on. Wow.
Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. So I was thinking about this because the tendency in my house, at least, we have this bar area, and the tendency is to come in the door and set everything on the bar.
Yes.
And so then when you want to eat, there's all this junk on the bar, right?
Yeah.
And so through this process of reading this book, and he's just got some little tips and tricks that are really good, but he says get in a pattern of doing something. So when I go in from work, I will now place my bag by the door instead of putting it on the bar there, and it not only clear space on the bar, but it's right by the door where I need it to be when I get ready to leave for work the next morning. And it's just become like a habit. Like I don't even think about it now. I just set it there, because that's where it goes. And so he talks about there's all sorts of tips and tricks, and if you want to go check out the book, we'll put it in the show notes for you. But it's been really good in helping me realize that the bad habits that I think, oh, this is not going to matter, I'm too tired to walk 2 feet and put this where it goes, really creates more stress in my life. And his premise is that if everything has a place, it actually creates more space and more time for you, and it makes time your ally. So it's just, that's been transformational for me, really.
One of the things, speaking of like the mail, where the mail gets, I have a habit now of walking past my recycling bin as I come from the mailbox into my house. And so I will look through the mail and go ahead and throw it away. I know, like, my husband is a nurse and he gets all these stuff from nurses about whatever. Yeah. And he has said, throw it all away. I don't want to look at any of it. Throw it all away. So I have his permission to throw away all of his mail that that meets his criteria of willing to throw away. And so you only touch it once. Yeah. You're not touching it 4 times, which, that J. Crew catalog that I get, I always touch 14 times because I'm
me too. I think I
need to just throw it away.
I might order it.
Yeah. Look at your items as you get them out of the mailbox. Am I actually going to look at this? If not, throw it right in the trash can. I mean, the recycling bin. Recycle it.
That's right.
That's a good habit.
Yeah, it is a good habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, proactive forethought. I'm hearing what you all are saying. I've got to learn to do this. I really don't do a good job at this at all. So I hold it all until I go crazy, and then I throw everything away. In a state of panic, maybe because someone's coming over. Yeah, but then I just don't build that proactive habit that you're talking about.
Yeah, and it really does. I mean, there is something to be said for when you are. I don't appreciate a clean house until I'm really exhausted and I come home from something and I don't have to look at all the mess and I can just sit down and actually relax. Because you're right. We talked about this the first. When there's stuff and clutter everywhere, you're not really resting. You're thinking about how to get that into its place.
Or at the very least, feeling guilty about it.
Right.
Even if you're not going to do anything about it, you sort of beat yourself up about it, or at least I do.
We were going away for the weekend, and I told my daughter, I was like, your room has to be clean before we leave because we don't want to come home to a dirt. And so she did that, and she was like, you're right. That made such a difference. Like, I came home and we were exhausted because we'd had a busy, I think we went to dance competition or something. So we were exhausted when we got home, and it was nice to just be able to set your bags down and rest. Which is what our homes are for. So I have done better at this later in my life than I did earlier in my life because I've always been kind of a free spirit creative, and we kind of like clutter. And I know where everything's at, but don't mess with it. That kind of the thing. And my desk here is atrocious. Probably why I don't spend a whole lot of time there. Because everything feels like out of order. So I need to work on my desk. I don't have this perfectly, but this Atomic Habits has been making me think about things that we do every day. Like, we don't think about breathing. It's just automatic. We do it, right? And if you build in good habits and you get yourself in a routine of doing things, then they become more automatic.
I was doing some research on this personally a few weeks ago, and I found something that they recommend doing, and I've done it a little bit. I can do it more. Maybe this is reminding me to do it more. Like the 5-minute rule, they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Where you just say, okay, I'm not going to spend 2 hours because I don't have 2 hours, but I have 5 minutes. And so you go through a room and you put the clock on for 5 minutes, and you take the things that are out of place and you put them up for 5 minutes. And I can do that. I can fit that in between the tennis lessons and the band thing. Yeah. I can go do that for 5 minutes. But I don't have the 2 hours. But if I can spend that 5 minutes, it makes a difference if you do it enough.
And you feel like you're making progress.
Yes.
I think that probably is another trigger in our brain. And the guy in Atomic Habits talked about that too, that's kind of a trigger in your brain when you make progress and when you see movement and you see improvement. Then you're more motivated.
You.
Yeah. And it doesn't take that much time.
But I do want to say this. Remember Marie Kondo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she made a big splash about getting rid of clutter. Oh, it's so simple. Roll your pants. And I did that. We rolled our pants for a while.
Yeah.
We don't roll our pants anymore. But I
don't think anybody does.
I just want to give you a little bit of comfort. You're not the only one if you struggle with this, because Marie Kondo, did you know this?
No.
She had a baby. She had a baby, and she has now recounted. She's recondoed her thoughts on that. She said, listen, I can't even do it. I've got this baby now.
And she was the standard.
She was the standard. And she has even said, I can't do what I used to do. Give yourself a little grace. I don't know if she said that, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, not like a child, but go ahead and remind you that you can't do that.
You human.
Yeah. For me, one of the greatest solutions have been all of these great clear tubs.
Oh, yeah.
In cleaning my bedroom, one of the things, or that guest bedroom, one of the things I found is that I have, no lie, at least 250 pins in my house. First of all, who needs 250 pins?
Carol raises her hand.
Why do I have them in 14,000 different places?
Because you never know when you might be under your bed and need to note something down.
That's right.
We're learning something about Carol right now.
That's right.
About Kelly.
No, I have to ask a question.
Pin
Are they
order.
good pins?
Yeah,
Because
that's
if they're
true.
just 250 random pins,
Yeah, those
you can have
cheapo
them.
things.
I threw away a whole lot of random pins. Yeah, like hotel pins.
Okay,
like
don't
the
throw away
ones-
good ones. Bring them to me.
Yeah, I won't throw them away, I promise. But I did put them all in a clear box.
Yeah.
So I can now see that I have pins in a clear shoebox. Did the same thing with the crayons because, my kid's now almost 15 and he doesn't need crayons anymore. But I have a complete shoebox full of crayons.
Well, what are you
Same
going to
thing
do
with
with
markers. Well,
Hold them for your grandkids?
No, I'm not going to do
You
it that
could do
long,
that.
but-
What's that 70s craft where you melted them on a bottle? You remember that?
I do remember the melted
do that.
crayons. Yes.
Good. Yeah, I could also
Artwork.
just save them with a coloring book for like the random kid that shows up at my house.
yeah,
that
that's
needs
good.
to have something to do. We have a Lego box for that. Now we have a crayon box for that.
You must
but
have
all the
room,
crayons
though.
are in the place.
But you must have room.
well, I have
Have you
not
created
really.
room? Because
well,
I'm
I've
trying to
gotten
think.
all my stuff in one place.
Okay. All right. That's
So
the key.
Without it being, if it's organized, it takes up less space.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So you put it in boxes and you get the right sized box because if you get a gigantic box to put your crayons in, then you got a whole lot of dead space. But
Does anybody else do this though? I did this with my pantry. I was so sick and tired of stuff just being stuffed in the pantry because I didn't know what we had. And
Hello,
then I would go to the
Tupperware.
grocery store and
Yeah.
think, oh, I need Bisquick. And then I would come home and there'd be 3 things of Bisquick that I didn't know anything. Oh, it drove me crazy. So I pulled everything out of the pantry and I was like, we're starting over here. And like an hour into the process, I was like, what the heck have I done? Because there was a mess everywhere. I did eventually finish. It did take me quite an afternoon, though. It was like a whole Saturday afternoon I spent doing that.
But didn't you feel better when you were done with
and
it?
nobody sees my pantry but me and my kid.
Right. But
I
it
was
makes you
like-
feel better.
It's like every time I open the door, I hear angels sing.
Well, you feel good
right.
about yourself.
Yes,
My husband does
totally
that.
worth it.
I'll
Yeah.
ask him to clean up the garage, and he'll find himself locked in one thing, and he will discombobulate everything and will never get to the garage.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful. Start wherever is most meaningful to you, right?
Right, yeah.
Just dig in, start anywhere is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Because that's important.
Yes, whether
It
you
is.
have 5 minutes to do it like Tricia said,
Yeah.
or whether you have a whole afternoon to do it like Carol said, just start somewhere and do
somewhere.
it.
Yeah, because it's going to lower your stress levels. Might even help with your blood pressure. I don't know. And it might just make you more pleasant because you won't be so stressed out about all the stuff
Yeah,
that
'cause
you got.
get better
Clutter
rest.
makes me cranky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get better rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
And that's good for us all,
for sure.
right?
Yeah, and it clears our minds.
Yep. So my last question was talk about a time where streamlining's actually helped. I made the decision. It was a hard decision for me to make because you all know I love books. I'm a bookaholic.
Yes.
But I have a 2-bedroom condo, and there's not a lot of book space in a 2-bedroom condo, right? So I made the decision, very hard decision. I'm very selective now about books. So if it's a fiction book, I'm probably going to buy it just because I like fiction books. If it's a spiritual book, probably going to buy it because I need to write in it. But I've tried to make more purchases and or read more books on my Kindle.
Nice. My
Yeah.
church has a library. which is fantastic. I think every church should have a library.
Yeah.
And it is so underused. And every time I think about a book, I'm like, oh, I just should buy that book. No, I should check my library first, see if they have it, use it. I'm that way with fiction books. I don't want to hang on to the fiction book. Once I've read it once, I want to give it on to somebody else.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want it. I'm not going to read it again.
Give it to us.
Off it
Give me
goes
your
to
pens
Carol's
and books.
Clutter.
Me too. I want some of the books. No pens.
Yeah, but the spiritual books,
But
I'm
that
the
is
same way.
true.
I want to write in them, so I've got to buy them and keep them forever.
Yeah.
But those fiction books, I'm getting from my church library.
Or the
and then give 'em
regular
back to 'em.
library, you can too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we love our regular library.
And there's now an app on your public library. What's it called? The Libby app?
There's Libby and there's also Hoopla. It depends on what county you live in. At least here in North Carolina, there are those
you can
two
borrow
options.
books from the library on this app on your phone, so you
Yeah.
can read on your phone. So anyway, just a little something that I've done. I'm not
That's
gonna,
good, Carol.
I'm not going to say I've been entirely successful about it because my sisters gave me a $50 gift certificate to my favorite bookstore on planet Earth, and I went in there, and of course I spent more than the $50.
Yes,
because
yeah.
that's what we do because you just feel like, it's free money. I might
Yeah,
as
the
well.
first 50 doesn't count.
No, not at all. So I got entirely too many books, but
Funny.
I will say I'm trying to make progress in the book.
So it sounds like streamlining. To talk about streamlining, one of the best things we can do is see what junk we have that might be somebody else's treasure.
Yeah,
so I need to
true.
go through my books and see what you ladies might like and
Yeah.
then get them out of my house.
And put them in ours. I can see it now.
She's not
My
helping
little
us
area
here.
with the mail is
Yeah.
going to have books too. That's how it works. That's exactly how it
Actually,
works.
if she gives you enough, you could build a little coffee table for your mail.
Perfect.
Okay, there we go. Any more problems we
mean,
need to solve today?
It's payback. The last time I was at your house, you sent me home with stuff. So
That is true. I
Right?
did.
That's
I'm
true.
Gonna come and I'm going to give you my
You
books.
give and you take.
right.
That's biblical.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That's how
I
we
think it is.
streamline. We find a friend to give all of our junk to.
Find a friend to shove it off on. I thought this dress would look great on you. Yeah. So clean out your closet, clean out your mind, clean out your schedule, clean out your house. It's going to make you feel a ton better. If you've got tips or tricks that work for you, I would love to hear them. And I'm
Me
sure these
too.
girls would too. Yeah. Kelly sounds like she's on a good track. Me and
Yeah.
Tricia
We need
still
some
need a little help.
still.
Get a label maker and some plastic tubs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Label maker.
What in the world?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Do not send us a label maker because it will not get used. It will give.
We'll give it back to Kelly. We'll go to her
Kelly.
house and just leave it.
We'll just label everything that shouldn't be labeled. That's what would happen with us.
I labeled my spices one time because I was tired of like moving the spices to see what was on the side of the spice. So I
Oh,
labeled
my.
the top of the spices.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. It's so much more efficient.
Oh,
Because now I can look at my spice rack and go, oh, look, there's the cinnamon.
we don't have a spice rack. We have this place that we shove it all up with the olive oil and stuff.
Organization.
Pans up
Sounds
there.
like bottles laying sideways on the top.
And all you do is, if you can't fit, shove it
Shove
further
it
in.
and slam the door.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. We obviously need more help on this episode.
Spice
So
Jenga.
help us. Help us if you can. You can email us at girltalk@thelightfm.org. You can also get in touch on the Facebook page. We would love to hear from you because obviously we need a ton of help. And we love seeing your face. So join us next time for the next Girl Talk podcast.